When you are preparing to write a book, what are some things that you should consider before you even put pen to paper?
Oh, there are a lot of things to consider. Before we go into that, one thing I want to mention is I have a series too. It's Transforming You series. And I have to say, in terms of marketing and sales, my first book in my series on forgiveness is still outperforming my other two. But now that the other two are out, guess what happens? People buy the bundle
Yes.
now. And my first book, the sales are, I don't have to run any ads to my first book. I check it every other day. Honey, people are still buying.
There's a guy, I can't think of his name, but he wrote the book 12 months to 1 million.
Uh-huh. I know.
And he talks about that phenomenon of like when you produce your first product, getting your first product to 25, when you drop your second product and get it to 25, it will multiply the first,
Yep. That's another
right?
reason. Now that's the marketing part. You didn't talk to me about the marketing part of the book.
No,
You
but
know,
but
that's the
there's value, right? Because I
yeah.
think
Yes.
sometimes when we start looking at things like you get folks like Alex Ramosi who wrote his book that you can get on Amazon Kindle for $1, and you're like, but $1.
Yeah.
But then when you have 4 or 5 books in a series, and you're like, but $1 times five, it's like, okay,
That's right.
you get 100,000 people buying all five. It's a different game. It's a different scale. And then you also get people that are like, well, it was just $1, so I'm going to buy the other thing that you're talking about in the book because there's so much knowledge in here that I feel like I've had people read his stuff and be like, I feel like I robbed him
Wow.
because it was $1,
There's $1.
right? So they're like, I want something else to buy. Now he doesn't really have much else other than that, and then I think his gym launch book.
Okay.
But it's
Okay.
like those are really the only two things you can buy from him until you hit that $5 million revenue mark,
Right.
and
Right.
now he's trying to buy your company. So
There you go. See the marketing. See, there you go. But to your other question, Maurice, I didn't forget about it. The things that go into, I mean, the primary things that go into this. Number one, are you writing to your market, for your market, or are you writing for yourself? So the first thing you want to do, you want to keep your audience in mind, and that people wonder why their book is not selling, especially if they're not a large brand. Steve Harvey can drop his memoir tomorrow and he's going to make millions.
yep.
You know, his wife can drop a memoir tomorrow. She's going to make it's harder to sell when you're talking about yourself versus to when you're writing just sharing some narratives, but you're really helping people through the contents of your book to bring transformation in your life. So you want to consider your market first and foremost. Secondly, you want to consider your book cover. Should your face be on the front of the book cover? I've worked with a lot of authors where when they've had their face on the book cover, the sales plummeted. But after revising their book covers to align with what their market wants, the scales skyrocketed.
Okay.
And
That's interesting.
that's one of the advantages of being an independent or an indie author too, because you can go and you can change the book cover, you can go in and change the contents, you can edit. I mean, you just have more freedom versus to going through a traditional publisher.
Right.
And personally, I think going through a publisher, you should have your numbers up anyway, because at the end of the day, publishers are looking for numbers. Let's just call it like it is. Your numbers are up, your email list is up, they see your social media booming. Why would they not take you? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So people don't want to talk about that part, but that,
The self-publishing game has changed the publishing game, right?
it really has. Yeah.
It's hard nowadays for a publisher to be like, I'm going to take a nobody from nowhere
Yeah. Yeah.
and publish this book when I have somebody that's generated $100,000 in book sales, has a following that we know that their stuff is good because people are telling you that it's good. Don't let you be an author with a TikTok that, every time you drop a book, you get 10,000 sales from your TikTok. Right.
It is happening.
It's a different world out here.
It is. It
And
is.
people are taking their self-published books and creating businesses,
They
right?
are.
Like
They really are.
authors that were like, I just want to write, and now they're,
Yeah.
public speakers and
Yep.
doing tons of other stuff
That's
because
it.
they wrote a book.
A
So
book, wrote a book,
yes,
right? The book cover needs to align with the author because I want to just go back to your question. The book cover must align with the market. You definitely want to look at the colors, look at just look at some top performing bestsellers in that particular genre and look at the book covers.
Right.
You know, skim all 100, top 100, skim them, go to Goodreads, skim them, go to BookBub, skim them, you know, and do something that fits within that market, that genre that you are writing in. Okay. Your blurb, which is the book description. So these are the things that I'm mentioning now. This is what sells your book. Okay. The book cover, the title. I know we're going to get into that a little bit later. The book description. I've had to change my book description at least 10 or 20 times. I'm being very transparent because you don't get it if you're the writer of the book, not the editor, but the writer, and then you're turning around writing your own sales page because your description is just a sales page, you know? And if it's not really speaking to the emotional aspects of your audience, it won't convert. After your friends and family, the book will not convert. So, you know, I mean, they can help you out, but Amazon is even getting very smart about even reviews. If a person is too closely connected to you, they will not input, they won't add that review on your
Yeah.
behalf. You know, so they're really catching on to things because people have really abused it. But your book cover, the title, your book description, and your insight matter. Amazon has that feature where you look, it's called Look Inside.
Yep.
And I help my authors and my coaches. That's one of the main parts. Your chapters, and here's a tidbit for anybody listening. Your chapters, your chapter names need to speak to the wants and problems of your audience.
Yeah. Yes. It's got to be, each chapter needs to portray the transformation.
There you go.
Like, and that's where it gets challenging because I think sometimes people take on this book journey and they're like, I just need to share really good information. And the challenge is we forget that good information is no longer